Well, it's time once again to go out to the other coast of the United States of America. And out there we find Michael Snyder. He's ready to do Snyder. He's ready to do his little movie reviews. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Alex, or Allie. I'll call you what I need to call you. But anyway, yeah, it's December. The holiday season's ramping up. The movies are spilling out. We're going to get more kind of Oscar bait over the next couple weeks. But we open up the film reviews today with something that surprised me in how good it was. Sony Pictures has the rights to do Spider-Man and a lot of other Spider-Man characters that they got from Marvel, and they've kind of connected to Marvel in their cinematic universe with Spider-Man, but they've also held on to a lot of distinct and specific characters, and that is how they put together Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, an elaborately animated feature that follows the adventures of Miles Morales, a teenage version of Spider-Man who was introduced to Marvel Comics in 2011 in a move to add diversity to the company's lineup of heroes without trashing Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's original Spider-Man, Peter Parker. In this movie, the kid bonds with spider heroes from alternate dimensions, including an older, jaded version of Peter Parker, to defeat a big bad that menaces all of their worlds. That big bad being the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. I'm a lifelong comic book and superhero fan, and I can tell you that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is as creative, eye-dazzling, amusing, exciting, and heartfelt as almost any superhero movie in the genre, and the very best animated superhero movie I've ever seen. In fact, it's an absolutely visionary take on the idea of bringing a comic book sensibility to the screen in really kinetic, colorful fashion, while holding on to a sort of heightened realism when dealing with the main characters, and in particular, Miles, who is a smart, young, half-black, half-Hispanic teenager from Brooklyn with a policeman dad, a nurse mom, a shady uncle, and the fortune or misfortune, if you will, to be bit by a radioactive spider and gain amazing arachnid-like powers, just like Peter Parker. Only there are a couple twists. Different radioactive spider, different result. The script is co-written by Phil Lord of the Lego movies, and it's clever and postmodern and perfectly captures all of its characters' distinctive voices. And the voices are very distinctive. Miles is portrayed by Shemek Moore, and the other spider heroes such as Spider-Gwen, who is voiced by Haley Steinfeld, Spider-Ham, that's right, a totally cartoony pig in a spider suit. And this one is voiced by the comedian John Mulaney, and Spider-Man Noir, which, believe it or not, is voiced by Nicolas Cage. And you get a couple iterations of Peter Parker, one courtesy of Chris Pine, the other by Jake Johnson. Lily Tomlin is Spider-Man's Aunt May. Mahershala Ali is in this thing. Liev Schreiber's the Kingpin. It's really wonderful. And Into the Spider-Verse is nothing short of a blast. As Stan Lee would say, "Nuff said." I wish I could be so excited about Mortal Engines, but no. Mortal Engines, the new movie adaptation of the latest young adult dystopian sci-fi bestseller, is set in a far future of moving cities on giant treads that roll across continents, conquering, or more to the point, crushing everything in their way, including smaller communities on wheels that they plunder for goods, services, and new citizens. The most successful of these predator states in the movie is the former London, which is now controlled by a creep played by Hugo Weaving, the most familiar face in the film. And this thing is moving east through what was once Europe and trashing whatever it encounters. But an angry young woman has a plan to strike at the heart of New London. Cool idea, right? It's a shame the movie is an overlong stiff that at 2 hours seems to plod slower than one of those ambulatory cities. Peter Jackson, you know, award-winning director of The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Frighteners, etc., produced Mortal Engines but didn't direct, and somehow I don't think that the movie would have been any better if he had. After all, the Hobbit movies weren't so hot. So the sort of like sterling computer effects expected from his Weta animation company here on the steampunk side are the best thing about the movie, and even the CGI effects falter. And the script from Jackson and his regular collaborators is most remarkable for for its belief-straining logic gaps. I mean, even for a post-apocalyptic fantasy, you want to kind of believe what you're seeing on screen in the context of that fantasy. Thinly drawn characters, hackneyed dialogue, plus one of the leads, the little-known Icelandic actress Hera Hilmar, is really underwhelming, especially opposite her male co-star, Robert Sheehan from TV's Misfits, and Weaving. Weaving's in full scenery-chewing mode as the villain. I mean, at first I was reminded of one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, Things to Come. I was filled with anticipation, but not for long. This engine runs out of steam early, even considering its sometimes marvelous kind of visuals. All right, a much better film. In fact, up for a lot of awards already is a film called If Beale Street Could Talk. It's based on James Baldwin's novel, a romantic drama set in 1970s Harlem here, and it's directed and written by Barry Jenkins of Moonlight fame. It concerns a pregnant woman trying to clear her baby daddy of criminal charges and features a cast led by newcomers Kiki Lane and Stephen James as the couple, and they're supported by Regina King, Dave Franco, Diego Luna, Pedro Pascal, among others, and not as stunning and memorable as the Oscar-winning Moonlight, but Jenkins' film adaptation of the novel is still solid. It's a movie drama with heart and soul and a point of view and impressive performances. It does kind of seem to stop in its tracks in what was for me an unsatisfying way, but there's no arguing with the quality of the work. It's some deep stuff, and it's a glimpse into African-American family life that I found really kind of compelling and endlessly fascinating. Okay, Capernaum is a graceful and moving drama from Lebanese writer-director Nadine Labaki. It follows the adventures of Zayn, a boy who's neglected by his parents, who hits the streets, who finds a familial bond with Rahil, a refugee woman from Ethiopia, and her baby boy, and then gets in deeper. When Rahil is caught in a police sweep, Zayn is reluctantly stuck with the kid and tries to reunite mother and child, only to get in trouble with the law himself, resulting in a tense courtroom drama. This movie won the jury prize at the Cannes Film Festival this year, and for good reason. The drama, the tragedy, the heartbreak, and the resilience of the human condition, all of that are palpable in every frame of Capernaum, which is one of the better movies of the year as well, especially in the foreign film category. We got a couple of Netflix picks. You can see these things in theaters, but man, you can watch them at home if you want. Bird Box is like one of those clever Stephen Moffat scripts for Doctor Who, where there's something about an otherworldly threat that has to do with how it attacks or responds to the five human senses. You could say the same thing about A Quiet Place, but in any event, Bird Box, which is adapted by the screenwriter of Arrival, Eric Hesserer, is the story of a bizarre kind of invasion that starts to decimate humanity. If you actually look at the big bad, whatever it is, you're done for. So we follow Sandra Bullock's initially pregnant character from the first hint that something's wrong to the escalation of this apocalyptic problem, her attempts to survive it, and so on. And Bullock is in top form. You feel the pain. You're rooting for her all the way. And you also get sometimes brief but always effective turns from a reliable cast that includes Trevante Rhodes, Jackie Weaver, Tom Hollander, and John Malkovich in full Malkovich mode, which is a good thing. Only these are two familiar types and plot machinations. This is from the Academy Award-winning Danish director Suzanne Bier, and it's kind of a departure. It's her first sci-fi or fantasy movie, and she does a decent job, but ultimately this is just okay. A diversion with a script that may have some moments, but the interesting premise doesn't really go to new places. And, it's not as powerful as one of Bier's realistic dramas, but for a Netflix and chill, pretty decent. Finally, one of the best films of the year, absolutely maybe the best, already garnering a boatload of awards. Roma is now available on Netflix, and it's from Alfonso Cuarón, a true auteur, the guy who did Y Tu Mama Tambien and Gravity, and this is his most elegant and accomplished movie to date, a somewhat autobiographical drama that he wrote, directed and edited. It's set during the early 70s in Mexico City, and it's very meticulously shot in glistening high-res black and white that looks fantastic on the big screen, but will also look good on your high-def screens at home. And it focuses on the members of a well-off family and their domestic help, particularly their devoted housekeeper Cleo, as they grapple with personal tragedy, class distinctions, and the revolutionary fervor of the era. I really loved Roma. Really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you up? What are you watching?
The only thing we're watching is My Brilliant Friend on HBO. So.
Ooh, tell me about it. I don't know about it.
No, it's done. It's an Italian, and it's in Italian. And I didn't start watching it, but girlfriend did, and she started enjoying it, so I started watching it along with her, and it's very, very, very good. It's better than most television.
What's the premise, basically?
Basically, it's just the life of two girls growing up in it appears to be like 1950s Italy, and what they go through, and the attitudes of men about women being smart. Okay.
Wow, good. Coming of age, empowerment, period piece.
Yeah, very good, excellent.
Cool. Thanks for that. I didn't know about it, and I will actually pursue.
Yeah.
You can check out my tweets on Twitter at Culture Blaster. You can listen to Alex and me on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, and certainly here on GABNet.
Okay, thank you, Michael, and we'll probably see you after the first of the year, I would imagine. Anyway, that's it. That's our wrap up for today. Stay tuned for more GABNet on 24/7 channel coming right up, or look for this on demand.